he recommends a plan for further training on parenting skills and enhancing parenting ability. He also puts her under a weekly supervision schedule. The supervisor demonstrates some approaches that she might try with the mother. He also asks what steps have been taken to reduce the mother's risk of opioid use. In response, the social worker admitted having mostly focused on the kids. The supervisor recommends focusing instead on the mother's substance use disorder. The supervisor explains how the mother might be shifting focus on the kids to avoid dealing with her substance abuse. The supervisor supports the social worker by validating her observations about how difficult the mother is. He suggests they go to lunch to talk about some more about her career and future training and educational plans. The supervisor shares his own belief that some individuals cannot be helped, and until they show motivation for change, clinicians are swinging at ghosts. The supervisory session goes way over its allotted time. Okay, so inviting you to give those some thought. I think there might be one more. Hold on. Yes. Lastly, the supervisor recommends a transfer of the case to a clinician who has extensive training and experience with parenting behaviors and social skill enhancements. Okay. Invite a couple of responses on those. But
we had one response thinking that number 2 was a good example of a healthy relationship.
Yes.
You know, between the supervisor and the supervisee.
Yes.
Okay. The counselor could recommend the mother attend a parenting class to better help her with her children. Anytime, we have another comment, anytime I have a client that is focused or fixated, I try to redirect the session, usually to something that is completely off topic. Asking the mother about her childhood is also a great start. The transfer of the case is a great idea, but it should be supplemental to what the clinician is doing.
Good comments. You know, sometimes what we really need to be interested in is, you know, how is this going to help the supervisee to grow? You know, like sometimes the easy thing would be to pass it off to somebody else. But we should, even if ultimately that's what we end up doing, it should, you know, thoroughly explore the issues that the supervisee was having, and, you know, sometimes they're warranted. So, yeah. Okay. Should we move on to the next one now, or?
Yeah, yes. Do you have one more?
We have 2 more.
Oh, yeah, we better proceed then. We're running close to our time.
Okay. So the third one is, a social worker in recovery from benzodiazepine use disorder is describing his clinical interaction with a 32-year-old man in recovery. The man, who is introverted and almost phobic of groups, works alone as a computer programmer. The social worker has been recommending that the man attend AA meetings. The social worker has promised to take the man to his own AA meeting. He had the man contract to do so for the next month. The man reluctantly agreed to that contract. So I'm hoping you'll see the abundance of issues in this one. The supervisor, who is also in recovery, praises the social worker for his affirmative approach with the man. The supervisor strongly endorses the idea of pushing the AA attendance. He asks to be kept well informed on how the man does in AA. 2, the supervisor is disturbed about the social workers pushing a contract for attending AA as part of the man's treatment agenda. The supervisor agrees that AA is probably a good resource for the man. However, the supervisor is worried about the directive steps being taken by the social worker. He asks the social worker to step back from this during the next session and to apologize to the man for being so intrusive with suggestions. The supervisor asks the social worker about his exploration of the man's extreme introversion and possible social phobia. The supervisor inquires as to whether this might be a contributing factor in the man's substance abuse. The social worker says he just took the client at his word that he was introverted. The supervisor directs the social worker to fully assess the man's anxiety and its likely causes. And 4th, the supervisor recommends referring the man to group therapy to address his introversion or social phobia. He tells the social worker that the man needs to be forced out of his shell. His solitude-seeking behavior is contributing to his sustained substance use. By treating the man's isolating behavior first, there's a better chance of inspiring recovery, the supervisor says. Okay, let's take some time to give that some thought.
There's some comments here, Jane, about for number 1, the supervisor, for the suggestion number 1, the supervisor is supporting an unethical approach the supervisee has used.
Absolutely.
Referencing a dual relationship to invite and offer to take the client with an observation.
Excellent observation. That's exactly what I was hoping for. And just as a statement here, I really want you to think about this too. These are just some personal thoughts because I am a believer in 12-step programs, but remember that the AA model is not evidence-based. You know, the professionals would say, people who are into empirically sound approaches, that adherence to 12-step approaches means the clinician is treating the addiction, not the person, which is actually against what the ROSC stands for. And ethically, it runs right over the concept of respect for persons. And again, what are the ethics of ignoring evidence-based practices? So just some food for thought. Yes, and there's issues with, yeah, anyway, I'll let you.
Yeah, we better move ahead.
Okay, and let's look at the final one. A 27-year-old white social worker is telling her supervisor about her difficulties with a 43-year-old African-American man who is in treatment for depression and resentment towards supervisors at work. She begins by reporting how warmly she greeted Darren and how she spoke in a friendly, not clinical way to him. She describes repeatedly saying things like, "Darren, I'm here to help you with this problem and any other you might be having." In spite of her offers, she says he remains largely uncommunicative, responding only in one-word answers. Her supervisor is an African-American woman. Again, thinking about the merits and problems, the supervisor asks the social worker to talk with her just like she does with the man. Next, the supervisor speaks to the social worker in the same manner and then asks the social worker how that experience felt. Both agreed that the intended effect of warmth had been replaced by a patronizing manner that treated the man like a child. Second, saying that the social worker's behavior with the man bordered on insensitive and unethical, the supervisor directs the social worker to cultural diversity training. The supervisor establishes a series of in-house one-on-one training events and tells the social worker to look into the National Association of Social Workers sponsored CEUs on this topic. Third, the supervisor expresses support for the efforts being made by the social worker. The supervisor says that sometimes the motivation of individuals being served is not sufficient to open the door to change. She also suggests referring the man to a psychiatrist for an antidepressant medical evaluation. And last, the supervisor asks the social worker what it might mean to a middle-aged African-American male to be called immediately by his first name. She also asks about the use of language about helping you with problems. She asks about possible effects of using such language with a man who is older than the social worker. So I hope while I was reading those you could hear in my voice some of the things that might not be appropriate. But there were some good things in there too. So I'm not sure how much time we have, Leanne, but.
Well, we've got just another minute or two, but we did, again, get some follow-up there. A thought was that for number one, the social worker is trying to dumb down her approach, and this is evidence of poor cultural competency.
Yes, yes, thank you.
And we just got some additional good comments,
well, the most important thing is that that you were all thinking about it and reacting to the things that were being read and placing yourself in the role of the supervisor and you know, what things resonated with you and what things you had a reactive response to, and perhaps you could envision yourself never doing those things. So that was the hope in providing those supplemental exercises, but was that you would just have some time to retrospectively look back and integrate some of what we went over in the first part of the presentation.
Thank you, Jane. All right, Jane, if you're ready, I'm going to take control back of the presentation.
Okay. And at this point, I would just like to once again thank you all for your kind attention, and thank you for interacting. And Leanne, thank you again so much for all of your assistance. And it's been my pleasure and my honor to lead this presentation today. If anyone has any additional comments, please don't hesitate to contact me at Florida State University. I would be happy to continue any conversation that you feel you didn't have ample time to discuss.
That's great, Jane. Thank you so much, and we appreciate you coming and sharing your expertise with us today. Also, a thank you to all of our participants for attending the webinar today. Do remember, in case you missed it when I said it the first time, when you exit the event today, or when I end the event, your browser is going to take you to an evaluation on the FATA website. Now, you will be prompted to register, or if you already have an account, you'll be prompted to log in order to complete the evaluation. So once you do register and complete the evaluation, you'll be able to access a statement of credit right in your member profile on our website. If something happens, though, and you're not automatically redirected, or it's not convenient to do that right now, that's fine. You're going to get a second opportunity to complete the evaluation through a follow-up email I'll be sending in about 30 minutes to you later today. Do remember that if you want to receive continuing education or contact hours or your statement of credit for this event, you will need to complete the evaluation. And also, I would remind you, if you're a licensed healthcare practitioner, be sure to include your Florida license number for reporting to CE Broker when you do register with our site for the first time. Also, if you're certified with the Florida Certification Board or licensed outside of the state of Florida, you do not need to provide your certification number when you do register with our site. So all that being said, let me also extend a thank you to the Florida Department of Children and Families, Office of Substance Abuse and Mental Health for funding today's presentation. So everyone have a great rest of your day. Thank you, Jane.
Thank you. Thank you, Leanne. Thank you, everybody.